Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 64 based on novel. So let's start. Though Wu Zhongkong wore his usual mask of iciness, his eyes seemed to flicker with conflicted emotions. Let's find an inn first. The word luxury didn't exist in the dictionary of the inn that Wu Zhongkong chose, simply finding one that was near the station and booked 3 rooms. The inn gave off an antique feel with its simple architecture and mottled exterior of stone and wood, and its interior was neat and tidy, though their amenities were plain. Each room had 1 bed, 2 bedside cabinets, a wardrobe, a desk, and a chair. Only 2 people could fit in the washroom at a time, and that was all. It had 4 white walls and a window with a view of the train station. Wu Zhongkong had a room to himself while the students were split by gender into 2 other rooms. Wu Zhongkong had wanted to get a 3-person room, but this inn only had 2-person rooms. Otherwise, they would have only needed 2 rooms. So comfortable. Xie pounced on the bed the instant they entered the room, and spread his limbs. Tang Wulin, on the other hand, went to the window to take in their new environment. Wulin, why do you think Teacher Wu is so stingy with the rooms? He should have a good salary from the academy, and he's even a battle armor master. You should have seen how awesome it was. He's got to be rich since he made his battle armor. Tang Wulin laughed. Teacher Wu just doesn't care about such mundane things. Now you should be a bit more modest. We're not here to have fun. Xie said, fine. I'm going to nap first then. The train was so cramped I couldn't even stretch my legs. Although trains were convenient, second-class seats were by no means comfortable. Xie's breathing soon steadied. Tang Wulin took a bath and, after putting on some clean clothes, he went to Wu Zhongkong's room and pressed the doorbell. When Wu Zhongkong opened the door and saw him, he let him in silently. Teacher Wu, can we go now? Tang Wulin asked. Wu Zhongkong glanced at the sky. Don't be anxious. Auctions are held in the evening, so we still have plenty of time, and Shrek City's auction has quite a selection. I'm sure we'll be able to find it. You need to be patient. Okay. Tang Wulin took a deep breath in and calmed himself. His nerves really were a bit jittery. He had never thought himself talented. His martial soul was the trashy blue-silver grass, and though his 2 soul rings were at the 1000-year level, they were still merely 1000-year blue-silver grass soul rings. As for his golden dragon claw, while it was powerful, it wasn't sustainable. He was confident in his combative skills and would only place himself below GUU, but this was Shrek Academy. If he wanted to pass the exam, he had to take it up a notch. Wu Zhongkong said, Wulin, let me ask you again. Are you sure your strength will increase once you have all 4 spirit items? If you're not absolutely certain, then I recommend that you not act hastily. The slightest mistake could negatively affect your future. Teacher Wu, I'm certain. Tang Wulin said without the slightest hesitation. My martial soul will evolve positively and it will definitely be a success. Despite being unable to tell Wu Zhongkong about the Golden Dragon King seals, Tang Wulin was certain that breaking the 2nd seal and absorbing its power would bring great rewards for him. Wu Zhongkong nodded. I won't say anything else then. It's almost night, we'll set off in a bit. Thank you, Teacher Wu. Tang Wulin returned to his room and began to meditate. The sun soon sunk below the horizon, twilight eating away at the sky. They ate dinner at the inn. Although the place was small, perhaps because it was an inn in Shrek City, its food was unexpectedly delicious. Tang Wulin's mind was clearly wandering even during dinner, only eating half as much as usual. Still, he ate more than everyone else combined. Go rest and meditate in your rooms. If you want to go out, stay within the area and always carry your soul communicators on you, Wu Zhongkong warned Xie, Guu, and Xu Xiaoyan. Xu Xiaoyan said, Teacher Wu, where are you and Captain going then? She had become accustomed to calling Tang Wulin Captain now, rarely calling him by name. There are some matters we need to take care of. We'll be back later. Wu Zhongkong had never bothered to explain his plans to anyone. He quickly left with Tang Wulin after speaking. Before following Wu Zhongkong out, Tang Wulin signaled to his friends that there was no problem. Wu Zhongkong was clearly familiar with Shrek City, but, unlike their time in Heaven Do City, they hailed a taxi instead of walking. Seoul taxis were comfortable, but more expensive than public transport. It was the first time Tang Wulin witnessed Wu Zhongkong opt for such a costly method of transportation. But he soon realized the reason: Shrek City was just too gigantic. The taxi was faster than a bus, yet it still took them 40 minutes to arrive at their destination. Wu Zhongkong led him into a pointed building. A staff member welcomed them once they were inside. "Excuse me, may I ask if you two are participating in the auction? Could you please take out your invitation letter?" Wu Zhongkong retrieved something out of his pocket and flashed it. The staff member instantly acted more respectfully. "So it was our esteemed guests that have arrived. Please come this way." The staff member no longer pestered them for an invitation letter and led the two inside. Tang Wulin finally understood what true luxury was. Past the door was a hall made of white wood, golden patterns swirling across them like elegant flowers, while the floor was lined with a scarlet rug that had golden embroidery running down its length. Crystal lamps lining the walls sparkled on the walls, their shimmering light attracting the eyes of the guests. An unseen pressure weighed down upon Tang Wulin as he walked down this magnificent hall. He sent Wu Zhongkong furtive glances, but was only met with a calm expression no different than when they were at the academy. The two were brought to an opulent room and someone delivered drinks. A moment later, a middle-aged woman walked in. "Honored guests, welcome. I am Ruo Ling, an auctioneer for the Yaluo auction. May I ask if there is anything I can help you with?" She gave a slight bow to Wu Zhongkong and Tang Wulin. "Bring me your catalogue," Wu Zhongkong said. Ruo Ling smiled. She walked over to Wu Zhongkong's side and crouched. With a flash of her golden bracelet, a small soul screen appeared in her hand. After a few taps on the screen, a list of items appeared. "May I ask what type of items you are looking for?" Her smile never left her lips as she furtively glanced at Wu Zhongkong's stern face from time to time. Together, Wu Zhongkong and Tang Wulin were a pair of peerless ladykillers. Of course, she was more attracted to the mature Wu Zhongkong and, in consideration of his status, she acted friendlier than normal to him. She valued both looks and status. If she left a good impression on him, then perhaps she could advance their relationship another step. A pleasant fragrance lingered on Ruo Lin. It wasn't perfume, lest she offend anyone. Her gentle smile lacked any pretense, creating a sense of familiarity. Unfortunately, neither her complexion, figure, nor smile could thaw Wu Zhongkong's icy heart. Wu Zhongkong said, "Spirit items." "Yes." Ruo Ling quickly navigated to them. "Do you have a specific item in mind? I can help you search for it." Ruo Ling sighed in her heart. "He's not even sparing me a glance. Am I not even enough to enter his eyes?" "1,000-year Azure-veined vine," Wu Zhongkong said. "Please wait a moment." Ruo Ling swiftly inputted the name and the listings changed. There were high-grade, mid-grade, and low-grade 1,000-year Azure-veined vines, each with a different price. The starting auction price and estimated sale price were listed beside each one. "When will it be put on auction?" Wu Zhongkong asked. Tang Wulin's eyes sparkled. "Yes. They have it. As expected of Shrek City. The next time an azure-veined vine will be auctioned is in 3 days, with the bid starting at 8 in the evening. I believe there are 3 sets available." Ruo Ling said, a smile so sweet it could cause diabetes. Wu Zhongkong frowned. "If I want to buy a high-grade vine immediately, how would I do so?" It had been years since he last visited this auction, and rarely did he visit any auction in general. Ruo Ling hesitated for a moment, biting back her words as she organized her thoughts. "According to our rules, we're not allowed to sell items directly. But I can make an exception for someone as honorable as you. An instant purchase will cost 20% more than the estimated sales price. We can offer an accurate quote once you've considered it." Wu Zhongkong turned to face Tang Wulin. How about it? An extra 20%? That's a lot of money. Tang Wulin's heart hurt at the mere thought of it. The listed price for a high-grade vine was 5 million federal coins. With 20% added on, he'd be shelling out 6 million. Yes, he saved up a small fortune over the years, but that had been earned with his sweat and blood. Teacher Wu, isn't the auction in just 3 days? Tang Wulin answered finally, though not without some hesitation. Their eyes met, teacher and student communicating in silence before the former nodded. Fine. Give us 2 auction tickets. We'll come bid for the vine in 3 days. All right. Please wait a moment. I will go handle this. Ruo Ling agreed with a smile before leaving. In the brief period she had been in contact with Wu Zhongkong, she understood that he was not one to offend. She was less than a speck in his eyes. After obtaining tickets to the auction, Wu Zhongkong left for the inn with Tang Wulin in tow. Everything had been left to Tang Wulin to decide without Wu Zhongkong making a single remark or suggestion. In truth, Tang Wulin had been nervous. Not only was the Shrek exam in a week, but he had to wait 3 days before he could lay hands on the exhilarating vine. That left him with 4 days to break the seal. Luckily, his body was stronger than it had been during the first unsealing. As such, he should just make it. His nerves settled at this epiphany, relief swallowing him whole. Tang Wulin cultivated in his room until the day of the auction. Xie Xie followed suit, his friend's diligence rubbing off on him, even though he knew deep down that sharpening the spear at the last minute was pointless. 3 days later, Tang Wulin and Wu Zhongkong returned to the auction house. They were led immediately to the VIP seats. Only 2 types of people could be found here, those with money and those with strength. Wu Zhongkong belonged to the latter. The auction beat East Sea cities in grandness by a long shot. Every single item auctioned was a rarity and the mood was soon set. The 11th item to be auctioned is a high-grade 1,000-year exhilarating vine. The starting price is 3 million. The minimum bid increase is 100,000. Let the bidding begin. It was finally time. Tang Wulin clenched his fists without realizing. He stared at the item like a desert-bound man would look at water. Nonchalantly, Wu Zhongkong slipped the number plate into Tang Wulin's hands, as if the bidding had nothing to do with him. He was generous when advising Tang Wulin on everything related to cultivation, but was a mute when it came to money matters. This spurred Tang Wulin to learn and adapt fast, to become independent, lest he be taken advantage of. 3 million, Tang Wulin said as he raised his number plate. 3,100,000. A person followed quickly. Because of the lack of side effects and its ability to increase one's constitution while strengthening the physique, the exhilarating vine was expensive. Tremendously so, in fact. For large clans, it was seen as a necessity, used in rearing the younger generation. Thus, the demand for it was always high. 3,500,000. 3,800,000. The price kept increasing. The hand in which Tang Wulin held the number plate grew sticky with sweat. At the current bidding rate, the price would soon exceed 5 million. Regret crept into his heart. If he had known this would be the outcome, he would have paid 6 million up front. For every item on the program, the sales price listed was the minimum amount of money the auction house needed in order to break even. Tang Wulin had seldom attended auctions in his life. Therefore, he didn't know this important fact. If the treasure wasn't popular, then the final price would usually hover around the estimated sales price. Items in high demand, however, often exceeded the estimated value by far. In reality, the price Ruo Ling had given Wu Zhongkong was heavily discounted in consideration of his status. There was rarely enough 1,000-year exhilarating vines to go around, and this fact was reflected in its price. It was Tang Wulin's ignorance that bit him in the back. Wu Zhongkong had known, yet chose not to warn his student. In his mind, Tang Wulin had to experience this bitterness himself so that the lesson would be carved into his heart. 5,400,000. Tang Wulin was on the verge of tears, almost crumpling into himself as he raised his number plate. 5,700,000. Another person shouted out. Tang Wulin didn't have a single moment to spare in regret. Although he was stingy, breaking the seal was more important. The chances of success were the highest with a high-grade vine. There was only one being auctioned today. Even if he threw out the 6 million right now, he wouldn't be able to buy a second one. His sole option was to fight tooth and nail for it. 6,200,000. Tang Wulin's face was morphed into an unsightly expression as the price breached the 6 million mark. I was stupid. Why didn't I just buy it back then? I could have broken through 3 days earlier and saved some money. 6,300,000. He had no choice but to continue. 6,500,000. 6,800,000. 7,300,000. Tang Wulin gnashed his teeth as his number plate shot up once more. Finally, the audience was quiet. A pin drop could be heard. 7,300,000 going once. 7,300,000 going twice. 7,300,000 going 3 times, and sold. Tang Wulin's entire body went limp in his seat the moment gavel sounded. 1,300,000. I paid an extra 1,300,000. Wu Zhongkong looked him in the eye and said, I showed them my identification as a battle armor master that day. Popular items usually exceed the estimated sales price. The price you won it for today is about normal. Do you understand now? Tang Wulin forced out a smile. I understand, but the price is still painful. Let's go. Wu Zhongkong didn't comfort Tang Wulin. This had been Tang Wulin's own choice, thus, he must live with it himself. It was useless to blame others. He didn't tell Tang Wulin this explicitly, and instead chose to teach him this lesson through his actions. Tang Wulin trembled with remorse as he paid the bill. He had earned about 14 million federal coins after 3 years of hard work. The vine costed half of his entire savings. If it wasn't for his high chance to succeed at spirit refinement, which would save him some material costs, he would have coughed up blood on the spot. His remaining amount of savings was a pitiful shadow of its former self. After storing a black box in his storage ring, Tang Wulin followed Wu Zhongkong into a taxi. Are you using those spirit items immediately once we return? Wu Zhongkong asked Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin was still the picture of agitation. So much money. I wasted so much money. I'm practically burning money to break each seal. His only comfort was the increase in his strength per unsealing. If not for that, his money would have been wasted. 3 years of fulfilling blacksmithing orders culminated into just 4 spirit items. If not for the items, he would have been able to afford to learn the Ghost Shadow Perplexing track. Apart from controlling Crane, capturing Dragon, he had also exchanged contribution points for some grappling techniques and the disorder-splitting Windhammer technique. The former increased his close combat prowess while the latter improved his forging. Supposedly, the disorder-splitting Windhammer technique was developed by a great clan from an era long gone. It was the clan of the Tang sect's revered founder, Tang San, the Clear Sky clan. As time progressed, the Clear Sky clan faded into oblivion, leaving behind the disorder-splitting Windhammer technique as its sole legacy. The technique could be used both in battle and for blacksmithing, perfect for Tang Wulin and his innate divine strength. However, the Tang sect still had many arts he still wished to learn. A couple arts that he had been most taken with were the Ghost Shadow Perplexing track and the Soft Bone 8-stage drop, the latter which was formidable in close combat. To put it harshly, Tang Wulin's body was inhuman. Not only did he possess overwhelming strength, he also had astonishing flexibility that enabled him to learn this technique. Alas, his wallet woefully light at present, and it would take him ages to accrue enough points for the Soft Bone 8-stage drop. Naturally, if he reached the spirit refinement realm, he would accomplish that goal much faster. Tang Wulin didn't like being stingy, but he had no other choice. Everything required money. He needed money to attempt spirit refining and break his seals. Not to mention, in order to become a battle armor master, just having enough cash stashed for a rainy day wasn't going to cut it. He needed mountains of gold, rivers of coins, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. No, if he didn't practice frugality now, he'd be in for a big surprise in the future. How long do you estimate it will take? Wu Zhongkong asked. The helpless shake of his student's head was his answer. Wu Zhongkong knitted his brows. If you don't even know how long it will take, then why did you choose to bid on the vine? The corner of Tang Wulin's mouth twitched. Teacher Wu, do you really have to rub salt in my wounds? I'm already so poor. I just wanted to save some money, Tang Wulin muttered. Wu Zhongkong didn't mind twisting the dagger as he continued, and how much did you save? Tang Wulin gritted his teeth. Nothing. Wu Zhongkong said coldly, if you rush to refine your bloodline once we return, you may miss the opportunity to take the Shrek exam. So, you have two choices, either hone your bloodline now and risk missing the test, or participate in the exam without the refinement. Think it over carefully. Tang Wulin frowned, brow creasing as he pondered this dilemma. I don't know how much time the unsealing will take. If it goes on for too long, I'll be in a pinch. But can I pass the exam as I am now? It's Shrek Academy after all. Teacher Wu, as I am currently, what do you think of my chances of passing the Shrek exam? Tang Wulin asked. Wu Zhongkong looked him over, eyes unblinking. It will be tough. Tough? Is that good or bad? Tang Wulin couldn't help but loosen his lips. How tough? Very tough. With that, Wu Zhongkong turned toward the window. Tang Wulin felt a massive headache coming on. Can't you say any more than that? Help me analyze this. Isn't this your responsibility as my teacher? However, he didn't dare speak out of turn. Instead, he endured through gritted teeth. If that's the case, I'd rather not risk it. Teacher Wu, if you knew all this before, then why didn't you tell me to buy the vine 3 days ago? Then I would have had enough time. To his outburst, Wu Zhongkong said, you've already grown up and it's your own money. Any decision is solely your own responsibility. There was no denying it, the truth was severe and Tang Wulin lamented in his heart. He had expected this sort of answer, but he had to ask. He had been defeated the moment he spoke. I choose to refine my bloodline. Tang Wulin sucked in a deep breath, his eyes twinkled with resolve. If passing the exam will be difficult without breaking the seal, then I have to risk it. At least my chances will be better. All right. Wu Zhongkong nodded and spoke no further. Once they returned to the inn, Wu Zhongkong spared no time pointing to his own room. You can make you break through in my room. I'll guard you. He opened the door and entered. Taking in Wu Zhongkong's regal figure, Tang Wulin experienced an ember of warmth crackling within his heart. He understood Wu Zhongkong's reasons for his hands-off teaching approach. It was for his sake, so that he would grow independent. Taking another deep breath, Tang Wulin stepped foot into Wu Zhongkong's room. After directing his student to the bed, Wu Zhongkong pulled up a stool beside it and sat down. Tang Wulin placed the 4 spirit items on the desk. Is it time to start? It's been 3 years since the last one, and now it's time for the second. What will I obtain this time? His pulse raced at the thought, heart thumping so hard he could almost hear it. But I have to finish within 4 days. If I succeed, I'll be able to take the exam in peak condition. Time waited for no one and Tang Wulin dared not tarry. He sat on the bed cross-legged and closed his eyes. He summoned old Tang, bent on learning how to utilize these treasures. Ever since Tang Wulin was saved by old Tang from spirit energy overload, he hadn't heard a peep from him. Funnily enough, he only realized this just before he attempted calling for him. He'll appear, right? Anxiety squirmed in his heart, pulsing. If he hadn't already broken a seal before, he would have doubted its existence. Fortunately, old Tang did not leave him waiting. Within the depths of his consciousness, Tang Wulin once again found himself in that mystical spiritual world. You ready? Old Tang's voice resounded throughout the space. Old Tang. Hearing that familiar voice, Tang Wulin felt the tension in his body melt away. In a burst of golden light, old Tang appeared before him. He looked the same as he did since their last meeting. Long time no see, you little rascal." Old Tang's voice was marked with regret. "You've done well improving your body all this time. It shouldn't be a problem for you to break the second seal. Have you prepared the 4 necessary spirit items?" Tang Wulin's voice was thick with agony. "I have them." He was still bitter over spending so much money. Old Tang said, "Then you're ready to start. The way to use the 4 spirit items is a bit different from last time. You will ingest the dragon scale fruit directly. However, you will crush the other 3 items into juice. Afterward, dilute the juice with some hot water for a bath, which you will soak and meditate in. You need to do this simultaneously. In other words, don't eat the dragon scale fruit until the bath is ready. Understood?" "Yes, I've got it." Although it was troublesome, it wasn't a difficult task. "That's good then. You go prepare. You can start anytime once you're ready, but make sure your body is in top condition when you do." "All right." The 4 spirit items were the dragon scale fruit, land dragon tendon, azure veined vine, and sea dragon marrow. In order to allay Wu Zhangkong's suspicions, Tang Wulin meditated first, coaxing his body to peak condition. Half an hour later, he rose. "Teacher Wu, I'm beginning now," Tang Wulin said. Wu Zhongkong nodded as a response. He hadn't left his seat beside the bed and was ready to probe Tang Wulin's body with his senses. Tang Wulin's bloodline refinement evoked in him a sense of wonder. Tang Wulin said, "I need to actually eat the dragon scale fruit, but I'm smashing the other 3 into juices. Could you help me with that? I also need to dilute the juices with hot water and use it for a bath to soak in." Wu Zhongkong stared at him, face as impassive as a blank mask. "You're absorbing it by soaking?" A quirk of the brow. "Is there an issue?" Wu Zhongkong shook his head. "There's no problem with that, but it's not very efficient. You won't be able to absorb all of the nutrients that way." Tang Wulin said, "That's fine. I'll trouble you to help then." After nodding, Wu Zhongkong stood up from his seat. He couldn't help but let a few words slip through. "That's such a waste of money." At his teacher's uncharacteristic outburst, Tang Wulin's face twitched. "Can you not talk about the money?" The amenities were nothing special, yet a bathtub was still provided. Tang Wulin adjusted the nozzle to let out a scorching stream of water, filling the tub halfway. Then, Wu Zhongkong brought in the 4 spirit items. Wu Zhongkong opened the case containing the 1,000-year azure veined vine and took it out. Like its name suggested, the vine was azure in color and only about as long as one's forearm. It sparkled like a crystal, and a dim glow emanated from its stalk as liquid circulated within. A sweet, refreshing fragrance capable of clearing a person's mind lingered on it. Wu Zhongkong pointed a finger at the vine and released a gentle stream of soul power that encapsulated it and carried it over the water. When he made a pinching gesture, an invisible force wrung the vine and broke it in half, letting its juices drip into the bathtub. The vine's juices quickly mixed with the water, imbuing the water and the steam that rose from it with an azure color. A heavy aroma hung in the air. With the last of the vine's juices extracted, only its husk was left. Wu Zhangkong's eyes flashed as his finger swiftly moved, creating blades of mysterious heaven method soul power. They stabbed the vine countless times, instantly turning it into a fine powder as if it had suddenly exploded. The powder floated down into the water without a single particle wasted. Tang Wulin's eyes shimmered at the astonishing sight. Throughout the entire process, Wu Zhongkong hadn't used his martial soul. He accomplished this feat purely through his control over the mysterious heaven method. Now that's power. The land dragon tendon came after the azure veined vine. Of the 4 spirit items, the tendon was the least remarkable. All of its 2 meters of length was tan, and it was several times thicker than the vine. This 1,000-year land dragon tendon originally should have been 5 meters long, but it shrunk to this size after being processed. You would normally need to boil it for 3 days and 3 nights to soften it before being able to use it. Since you want to make a broth of it, there's only one unique method to do so. Wu Zhongkong moved his left foot 1 step to the left and bent his legs, maintaining half-squat position. With a wave of his right hand, the tendon floated up just like the vine did. Then he brought his hands in front of him, palms facing each other, and a gust of wind came into existence between them. Controlling crane, capturing dragon. Tang Wulin instantly recognized this Tang sect art. He's using controlling crane with his left hand and capturing dragon with his right. Eyes narrowed, Wu Zhongkong's hands began to move in circular, rhythmic motions. The fluctuations of his internal soul power grew stronger and stronger while the tendon began to rapidly spin. As the tendon's revolutions grew faster and faster, a whirring sound could be heard. Aside from the slight oscillating movements of his hands, Wu Zhongkong's upper body was completely still. His soul power fluctuations, however, increased in strength as he fought to suppress the draft. Although Tang Wulin could sense the immense power gushing from Wu Zhongkong, it didn't affect him at all. Teacher Wu's control over his soul power is amazing. The tendon's tan coloring gradually turned red. Howling wind accompanied its high-speed rotations. The pressure from controlling crane, capturing dragon, the high-speed revolutions, and the air friction all merged together to tenderize the tendon. The tendon slowly began curling inward, eventually resembling a scarlet dumpling. Controlling crane, capturing dragon can be used like this? It was Tang Wulin's first time seeing it used in such a magical way. A quarter of an hour later, red liquid began dripping from the tendon. Each time a drop of the liquid hit the water, puffs of steam rose into the air. Tang Wulin could feel the temperature of the water rising. The scarlet tendon juice mixed with the water, making it murkier. Another quarter of an hour later, the entire tendon had been converted into juice and mixed with the water of the bathtub, making it dark green. It truly looked bizarre. A queer smell had replaced the pleasant fragrance. A hint of the vine's freshness was still there, but it was overpowered by a fishy odor. The two smells fought back and forth, the dominant smell changing from one moment to the next. Wu Zhongkong stood up and retrieved the 1,000-year sea dragon marrow. The marrow was easier to turn into juice. All he had to do was use his soul power to squeeze it like he did with the vine. In fact, he didn't even need to crush it with his finger swords. When the marrow mixed with the water, nothing really changed other than the steam taking on a pink hue. No matter how one looked at it, the water now seemed terrifying. Go in. Wu Zhongkong nodded at Tang Wulin in encouragement. It was Wu Zhongkong's first time seeing someone absorb spirit items like this, so he was curious to see how it turned out. Tang Wulin took a deep breath and forced any thoughts equating this bath with 3 years of hard-earned money out of his mind. He picked up the dragon scale fruit and took a bite of it. The dragon scale fruit didn't taste wonderful like its sparkling blue skin suggested. Its juices were extremely sour, and he nearly choked. It's 3 million. It's worth over 3 million. Tang Wulin shouted its price in his heart over and over, forcing himself to eat it bite by bite. In the end, he even ate its skin. With the dragon scale fruit now in his stomach, heat spread throughout his body. Tang Wulin didn't forget what he was supposed to be doing and quickly shed his clothes, dipping his toe into the tub's water. Hot. Perhaps due to the 1,000-year land dragon tendon, the water was much hotter than he anticipated, so much so that he nearly cried out. Steeling himself, Tang Wulin managed to put both of his legs into the scalding water. He was on the verge of tears, but he couldn't bear letting his money go to waste. Clear your mind and calm your breathing, Wu Zhongkong said. Tang Wulin's mind trembled as he hastily released a long breath and circulated his soul power. The dragon scale fruit quickly took effect, warmth spread from his belly as he used the mysterious heaven method. Tang Wulin thought that the heat within his body would help him adapt to the scalding water, but it was the opposite. Instead of adapting, he grew more sensitive to the heat, causing his body to tremble uncontrollably. At that moment, old Tang's solemn voice resounded in Tang Wulin's mind. Soak your entire body in it. Leave only your head exposed. With no choice but to bite the bullet, Tang Wulin plunged the rest of his body into the water, immersing himself in the scalding heat. It took all his willpower to keep himself from jumping out. Endure it. Endure it. Eyes tightly shut, Tang Wulin willed himself to continue soaking in the water and endure the pain of being boiled alive. From Wu Zhongkong's perspective, Tang Wulin's body had instantly become scarlet the moment he entered the water. It was as if he were a cooked shrimp. Tang Wulin's body began to twitch. Wu Zhongkong's brows furrowed. Will he really be fine? This is the first time I've heard of a recipe like this. Just where did Wulin get it from? Wu Zhongkong raised his hand, preparing to aid Tang Wulin by cooling him down with his martial soul. At that moment, however, a golden mark appeared faintly on Tang Wulin's forehead, shocking Wu Zhongkong. Even with his excellent eyesight, he could just barely make it out. The golden mark appeared to consist of 3 golden lines, but Wu Zhongkong couldn't identify it. This video will end here.